Hey, what's up everybody? Anthony Sevins back again for another product review, and today we're going to be talking about the Barrington Billiards Company 7-foot roll and score skee-ball machine. Let's rock and roll.
Ignition sequence starts. 6,
Alright, so what we have here is the Barrington Billiards Company 7-foot roll and score skee-ball machine, or skee-ball-like entity, as I will constantly call this throughout the video. So the place that you can get these, or the place that I had gotten mine, was Walmart.com. They were running a holiday special for $95 with tax and shipping and everything. It came to $100.20 even. And you probably are asking, well, is it worth the $100? Well, this machine has a retail value of $200, and there are actually different versions that Barrington makes. There's this 7-foot version of roll and score. They also make a 9-foot and a 10-foot version, a regulation size 10-foot version, and they are a little bit different. There's some similarities, and so I guess we can start off with the construct and the build. Well, when you first receive this box, you're going to want to do a 2-man lift because it weighs fairly close to 100 pounds. So instead of me carrying this downstairs, the box for this actually carried me down the stairs. Putting it together, I honestly have to say it was an absolute pain in the ass. It comes in 50 million different parts. It has a bunch of screws. Now, it's not to say that it's not easy to put together. The instruction manual is fairly simple and straightforward, but there's 50 million screws that you have to screw into this machine. So I was using a regular, like a power screw gun, and I was also using a manual Phillips head screwdriver, as well as the little tool that it comes for various screws. The biggest problem that I was having putting this together is some of these screws are located in such tight places that, using a screw gun, you're trying to angle it and it's not catching, and there's this big fear of stripping screws away, and so you turn over to doing it manually. And even screwing in a lot of these screws manually, your hand's rubbing up against something, you're not hitting the right angles, there's not a lot of leverage. So there's actually, I want to say, a small handful, maybe 5 or 6 screws in this machine that I was putting together that are maybe 3/4 of the way screwed in. And it really did. It got to a point of okay, to hell with this. I'm just going to leave it. It's not going to hurt or affect anything. It automatically shuts off after a period of time of not in use, and that's why you just saw the light go off. So putting it together was truly a pain in the ass. It took me a grand total of 2.5 hours to do by myself. If you have a buddy helping you out, I'm sure it can go a little bit faster, but it just takes time, and it takes a little bit of patience. But for the most part, it is a very decently built machine. I do commend the engineer who designed this. I had no clue in my head how all of this was going to come in the box and how all of it was going to be put together. So it really is a combination of Phillips head screws, and then there's some screws with washers that you use the little tool for, and then there's actually bigger, chunkier screws that are just manually hand twist into the side to hold stuff. So as far as quality goes, I don't feel that this thing is going to break or fall apart too easily. It's made of kind of the same material that you would build your arcade cabinets with, to where there's some pieces that are thicker and much heavier, and then there are some pieces of the wooden board that's much thinner on this thing. So it's not going to easily get damaged. It's not going to easily fall apart, unless you start taking a sledgehammer to it or something like that. As far as the electronics are concerned on this machine, So there are just a couple of wires that all get hooked up, and the power to this unit, which I didn't even know until I got it, it's not a plug-in unit. It actually works on 3 AAA batteries, which can be stored up here behind the scoring counter. So you put 3 AAA batteries, all of the sound, the lights, everything is controlled through this little tiny unit. Even the speaker for this is right behind the scoreboard. So, I mean, I was kind of like, wow, that's interesting. I mean, I even went out to the extent of buying an extra extension cord, you know, because I was gonna put this next to the pinball machine, and I'm thinking I'm gonna plug everything in, but then it's like, oh, it runs on batteries. So from the power switch on the front of this, it runs actually under the table, up and behind, and then there is actually an extra panel that they give you to hide and screw in so that you don't have cords just swinging around in the back. So, I mean, it is, you know, for a $200 item, I mean, you have to look in comparison here, okay? If you were to get an authentic, straight out of the amusement park skee-ball machine, you're looking at about anywhere between $2,000 to $7,000 for just one. So this being a $200 unit, I mean, you figure, you know, what are you going to get for $200 based on a $2,000 to $7,000 skee-ball machine? So, you know, I guess I don't want to say that it's cheaply because of the fact of it is a pretty decent quality for what it is and for its price point. Now, would I consider this to be actual skee-ball or a miniature replica of amusement park skee-ball? Is this like arcade perfect in any way? It's not. The scoring port on this machine is very watered down, very basic, and very simplistic in comparison to an arcade skee-ball machine. So I mean, this machine truly is just, here's an inexpensive item for those who don't have a lot of money, and it's a space-saving unit for those who don't have a lot of room, and it's fun at parties and fun for the whole family, you know, very casual like that. Trying to think, is there anything else? Also, yes, the machine comes with 3 arcade balls. It's made of a thick and kind of sort of weighted plastic. It's very smooth. It works perfectly with this machine. I mean, I really don't have any complaints with the balls, because if these balls were any heavier or if they were made of wood, then your chances of hurting the scoring triggers inside of the portholes would be great. So I mean, everything on this machine, it looks good, it feels good for being a 7-foot unit. Now, if you are a skee-ball enthusiast and you absolutely need to have that arcade feel, the regulation length, and you need to have the traditional skee-ball scoring ports, then I probably would not recommend this to you. You'd probably want to go and look for the 9-foot version or the 10-foot version, but then you're rolling into the $400 to $700 range, and they even make full-scale units that cost a little bit over $1,000. So again, this is really the low end of the totem pole as far as these roll-in scores goes. But the 7-foot version is absolutely perfect for the space, for the money. I think that, you know, if I did have one complaint, I wish it was a plug-in unit so that I could actually leave it on for extended periods of time with the rest of my arcade machines. And I definitely would switch up the scoreboard, but there isn't a lot of room, and this is the reason. There isn't a lot of room back here for a traditional skee-ball scoring board. So anyways, let's kind of just jump into, I'll give you a little tour of this firsthand. Okie dokie, so right off the bat you can see that I made a mistake. This board is actually backwards. There is a black side to this board, and I installed it backwards, and you know, by the time I was done, I went, damn it, man. After you put this all together, there really is no way to fix that unless you take it all apart and do it again. So, you know, my warning, my mistake to you is watch what you're doing and pay attention. I did this, and I got home from work at like 10:30 at night, and I was half asleep, and I'm surprised I actually managed to throw this bad boy together. So anyways, right here on the side are your power buttons, your game buttons, and your volume button. So if we push the power button, it simply goes on. Very cool. It's got the LED lights, and it has an electronic announcer, which is awesome. So once you turn the power on, it automatically goes into a one-player game where you have to throw 9 balls up the ramp. Let's see. And I suck because I'm trying this with one hand. Now, as you can see, as the ball is dropping through the little ports, there's no volume. So you hit this little volume button. Okay? You start the game. And after you start the game, then it starts announcing your scores. 20. Again, I'm sitting here trying to do this with one hand. All right, so you get the point. So then if you push this button again down here, it actually will shut off the announcer voice. So this way you can have a more, quote unquote, more quiet game. All right, and then if you go back to the player button, when you turn the machine on, it's automatically a player 1 button. So if we hit this again, the sound goes back on. So if you push it again, it goes to player 2. So you can have 1 player or 2 player modes where each player will throw 9 balls to see who can score the highest. I mean, and that's pretty much it. There's no timer on this like, your traditional arcade skee-ball. So it's after 9 balls, that becomes your final score. Giving you a closer look at the scoring ports of this machine, you can see the scoring triggers in each hole. So that's what the ball hits whenever it goes through the hole. And then the announcer calculates your score, blah, blah, blah. Under the hood is just one LED light under there. It's kind of almost looks like a black light, but I like it because it's a nice, cool blue lighting. Give you a closer look at the scoring portal here, and then, the battery compartment is behind, as well as the speaker for everything that you're hearing. So, I mean, it really is, it's just a fun little at-home 7-foot game. And kind of give you an idea, don't mind the tripod, an idea of what it looks like in a room. So, there's plenty of room. People can still be playing arcades. There's plenty of floor space here for the player to play. Whenever you do these skee-ball machines, you definitely want to make sure you have an ample amount of room. Because if I would have purchased the 9 or 10-foot unit, I mean, you're talking, it's going to be more over here, and then you're going to have basically people butt cheek to butt cheek, and this guy's playing Mortal Kombat. This guy's trying to get his groove on, to play some roll and score. So overall, do I think that this machine is worth the $200 price, the retail price, and do I think that it's worth the $100 that was paid for it? Well, fact of the matter is, let's play. Shut up. The fact of the matter is, if I were to go over to somebody's house and at first glance see this and have no knowledge of what this machine is, someone said, guess how much I paid for it, I'd probably look at it and say, anywhere between $350, maybe $400. That would be my first initial guess. But then they say, no, it's $200. Like, okay, I think it's worth around the $175, $200 range, but around the holidays, they're having a super sale, sales actually, and I say sales because the first attempt that they were selling these was for $95. So if you can find it for that $95 price tag, it's a steal, it's a no-brainer. Yes, pick it up, awesome, cool. But then the second wave of sales, they actually scooted up the price. I think don't hold me to it, but I think I saw on the site just yesterday, it's up to like $130, which I think is still absolutely worth the value for this machine. So, I mean, if you're if you are not a skee-ball enthusiast, or even if you are and you can look past the whole the scoreboard on this, I mean, you can modify the hell out of these things. The wood is manipulative enough to where you can add nets and cages and all kinds of stuff. And maybe if you want, you can sticker bomb the hell out of this unit and really, really customize it. I think it would be really extraordinarily easy to customize. But I think that, you know, again, if you're short on money, if you're short on space, the 7-foot unit is just the right one for you. But if you absolutely need to have that arcade authentic experience, I say save your pennies, get the 9 or 10-foot version, and I think you'd be good to rock and roll. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. The Barrington Billiards Company Roll and Score 7-foot edition. This is Anthony Sevins signing off. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. See you next time.